He thought he was the father. For years, he believed it, because he needed to, because everything in his world depended on it. The love. The marriage. The story they told the public. The illusion that the chaos had a center, a purpose. That even in exile, something real had been preserved. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. But all it took was one chapter, one line, a single quiet message from an old adversary, Tom Bower, and everything Prince Harry thought he knew collapsed in on itself. This isn't just another royal scandal. This is a revelation that could fracture the last remaining thread between Harry and the monarchy, and between Harry and himself. And the question everyone's asking, the one no one wants to speak out loud, is suddenly inescapable. What if the child he's protected so fiercely was never his? Let's back up, because this isn't how stories like this are supposed to start. Not with blood, not with DNA, not with silence. But sometimes silence is the loudest betrayal. And on this night, on this quiet, windswept night, when Harry's jet touched down at Heathrow without a single palace press alert, silence is all anyone seems to have. No Meghan, no aides, no security procession. Just Harry, stepping out into the cold, blinking against the flash of a camera that wasn't supposed to be there, because someone leaked. And whoever did wanted the world to know Prince Harry was coming home, not for family, not for ceremony, not for reconciliation, but for answers. And it all begins with a book that hasn't even been published yet. Or rather, a chapter that wasn't supposed to survive. You see, Tom Bower, the relentless biographer who spent the better part of a decade investigating the royals, had been working on something big, something buried. A chapter Meghan Markle allegedly fought tooth and nail to suppress. It never saw the light of day until now. What's in it? That's the question. That's the mystery. But if whispers from inside Kensington are to be believed, it's not just reputation on the line this time, it's paternity. And if that sounds impossible, like a fever dream concocted by tabloid junkies, just wait, because we've seen this pattern before. Secrets disguised as silence. Truth bent until it barely resembles itself. Carefully curated narratives that collapse the moment anyone pulls one thread too hard. And Tom Bower? He's never been afraid to pull. Which brings us back to Harry, and the question he's reportedly been asking himself ever since the message arrived. What if they were all right about her, and I was the one who wouldn't see it? Because this wasn't just about a lie. It was about identity.
A child's.
The entire story they've told the world since the day Archie was born. But before we dive into the evidence, before we even touch the leaked forms, the anonymous testimonies, the missing medical records, we have to start with what this moment means right now. Because timing is everything. This isn't a relic from 2019. This isn't dusty gossip from the Oprah interview or frozen footage from the Netflix docuseries. This is new. And it's happening now. The palace is scrambling. Advisors are whispering. Meghan has gone unusually quiet. And for the first time in nearly 2 years, Harry isn't hiding behind a California security gate. He's here, in London, and for the first time in a very long time, he's not smiling. There's something strange about a man coming home, especially when home no longer welcomes him. But Harry isn't here for forgiveness. He's not here to apologize. And according to one source, someone close to palace security, he refused even a single night in any royal residence. EOUYCO, no coat of arms, how to write town, house. No armed guard at the gate. Because this time, it's personal. This time, Harry isn't asking for anyone's blessing. He wants the truth. But the truth rarely arrives cleanly. It rarely announces itself. It doesn't send a calendar invite. It lurks. And sometimes, it has to be dragged into the light by someone who has nothing left to lose. Someone like Tom Bower. Which is why this story isn't just about a father. It's about the cost of believing someone when all the signs said not to. It's about what happens when a man trades a kingdom for love and finds out that love may have betrayed him in the cruelest way possible. You might think that's exaggeration, You might wonder, how could someone not know? How could paternity be hidden? How could a royal be misled? In an age of cameras, statements, and nonstop public scrutiny. But you'd be surprised what money can cover, what power can erase, and what fear, especially fear of losing control, can justify. We've already seen glimpses, inconsistencies in timelines, missing hospital photos, carefully staged announcements with no press corps, a conspicuous lack of third-party witnesses at key events. All of it was dismissed at the time, explained away, until now. Because now, Tom Bauer is allegedly holding something far more potent than speculation. He's holding records, names, dates, and possibly come back after this role, DNA. So, what does this mean? For the monarchy, for Meghan, for Harry? It means the narrative is cracking. That the illusion carefully built over the past 5 years, the one propped up by Netflix deals, PR firms, and legal threats, may be on the verge of collapse. And when illusions crack, truth floods in, ugly, unfiltered, uncontrollable. Which brings us to the child, the one who by every public account is Harry's. The one who has been paraded in Christmas cards, celebrated in interviews, and used, whether intentionally or not, as proof of love's endurance against all odds. What happens when that illusion breaks? What happens when a father learns he may not be one? This is the pain no title can shield against. And if the whispers are right, if even half of what Bauer's chapter implies is true, then Harry is about to confront a betrayal so deep, it makes royal exile look like a vacation. Because what's more damaging than losing your titles? Losing your identity. And what's more terrifying than being betrayed by your country? Being betrayed by your family. Especially the family you chose. We don't know yet how far this goes, but what we do know is this. Someone wanted Harry to see that chapter. It wasn't leaked publicly. It wasn't sent to tabloids. It was sent to him, privately. With a single message. You deserve to know. That message, reportedly sent via secure courier, arrived at Harry's Montecito residence late one evening last week. Within 48 hours, Harry was on a jet. No press release. No comment from Archwell. No photo ops. Just silence. And now he's here, in a townhouse 15 minutes from the palace that exiled him. Alone. Reading. Rereading. Because once you see something like that, once the seed of doubt is planted, you can't unsee it. And the question isn't whether Harry believes the chapter. The question is whether he'll ever be able to live the same way again.
But what exactly was in that chapter?
Who are the anonymous insiders Tom Bauer claims to have interviewed? And what was the one missing detail, the one sentence underlined in red, that stopped Harry in his tracks and shattered everything he thought he knew? That's where it begins. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. What came next was a knock. Not on the front door, not in daylight. This was quiet, deliberate. The kind of knock you feel in your bones before you hear it with your ears. Late, just past midnight. Just past midnight, was returned alone. Indeed, why? Of time. Was the mother a return to you? A time when nothing good ever arrives, and Harry, according to one private staffer, didn't answer right away. He just stood there, frozen, staring at the door as if he already knew what waited behind it. A courier, no badge, no company logo, no smile. Just a small sealed envelope in his hand. Thick. Hand addressed, and inside, all aid.a. that chapter, or at least a photocopy of it. No cover letter, no return address, just a red mark in the margin, underlined. One phrase, page 17, second paragraph. Now, cop. Let me pause here, because I want you to think about what kind of man it takes to read something like that, and not panic, not lash out, not destroy it immediately in a flash of defensive denial.
Harry didn't do any of that. He read it.
Then he read it again. Then, according to one source, someone who's seen him in moments of quiet devastation before, He poured himself a drink and sat outside until sunrise, not moving, not speaking, just staring. Now, what exactly did that paragraph say? No one knows for sure, not yet. But multiple people, all independently, speaking off record, say it contained a reference to unverified paternity tied to a date that coincides very closely with Archie's birth. Not Lily Bates. Archie, which is why this moment, Harry's return, feels so loaded. It's not about image. Not anymore. It's about something much deeper, much older. The thing Harry's been chasing his whole life. A stable identity, a role, a place where he belongs. But if this paragraph is true, if Meghan really manipulated the timeline, or worse, altered private medical records, then Harry's not just grieving a lie. He's grieving the idea that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't supposed to know the truth at all. Let's rewind. Not too far, just a few months, back to a time when everything seemed quieter. Harry and Meghan were on the West Coast doing podcast rounds, making subtle appearances, testing the waters for something more palatable after the collapse of multiple PR ventures. And then, out of nowhere, Tom Bower goes dark. No public appearances. No interviews. His publisher? Silent. For someone like Bower, silence is a statement. And as it turns out, he was working on something that reportedly involved 3 former employees from a private women's clinic in Santa Barbara. People with no connection to the monarchy, no political motivations, just memories and paperwork. Some of that paperwork allegedly didn't match up. Delivery dates, attending physicians, registration numbers that never made it to official records. Most people would have ignored it. Clerical errors, forgotten details. But Bower didn't ignore it. He followed it all the way back to the UK, where, and this part is important, he allegedly gained access to a highly confidential internal document from the Home Office tied to dual citizenship documentation for a royal child. That's where the red flag went up, because the birth record on file didn't match the public announcement. And the attending doctor never signed it. That's what sources close to the investigation are whispering now. The attending physician's name, the one released to the press, never actually saw the child, never attended the birth, may not have even been in the country on that date. And that's when Bower knew he had a chapter, not just speculation, something bigger. Now, what does that mean? What about is it a smoking gun? Not yet. But it's enough to force a man like Harry onto a plane without telling his wife. And when someone that public, that scrutinized, makes a move that secretive, it's not about headlines. It's about survival. Let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that the truth stopped mattering? That's what this is about. That kind of trust, whatever ranks are probable. The kind that erases doubt. That makes you blind, willingly blind, because the alternative is too painful to face. Harry's done this before. With his family, and eventually, with Meghan. Every betrayal pushed him closer to her. She became the one thing he could rely on, even when everything else was spinning out of control. So if this story is true, if Meghan did falsify medical records, or hide the real circumstances around Archie's birth, then Harry isn't just facing deception, he's facing the collapse of the only safe place he thought he had. Now, let's talk about timing, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. Just weeks before this alleged chapter surfaced, Meghan pulled out of a major speaking engagement, cited unforeseen family obligations. Harry wasn't with her. Then, within days of Bower's leak, sources say Meghan canceled a second planned trip, this time to New York, and went completely offline for over 72 hours. Number sightings, no press engagements, no Instagram stories from Archewell's staff. That's unusual, and that kind of radio silence, it doesn't just happen. Not in their world.
Then,
It suggests something was spiraling, internally, quietly. And then Harry vanished from the Montecito property. A local paparazzi outlet posted drone footage showing Meghan walking their dogs alone, a routine that up to that point had almost always included Harry. He wasn't there, and no one knew where he was until he showed up at Heathrow. Alone. The plane ride from Los Angeles to London is long. 11 hours, give or take. And that's a long time to sit with a thought like, what if I've been raising someone else's child? Or worse, what if she never intended to tell me? I don't say that lightly, because we're talking about real people here, a real child, real lives. But this is the weight of secrets.